Welcome to our second dive into the wild mysteries of how life began. Today, we're unpacking prebiotic chemistry, the mind-bending hurdles simple molecules face to spark the first flickers of biology. Buckle up, this journey's about to reveal why that leap from lifeless goo to living cells is one of science's biggest unsolved puzzles. What seems impossible today might just rewrite tomorrow's textbooks. Imagine a world of swirling gases and scorching rocks, Earth, billions of years ago. Prebiotic chemistry is all about how tiny organic bits, like amino acids, came to be. But it's not smooth sailing. The ingredients had to show up, reactions had to picky about what they made, and those fragile compounds had to survive a brutal planet, think scorching heat, crashing waves, and relentless UV rays. Experiments tease us with possibilities, but huge questions linger. How did chemistry pull off this cosmic magic trick? Now, let's meet David Deamer, a biologist obsessed with life's origins. Back in the early 2000s, he pitched the hot spring hypothesis, life kicking off in steamy pools on volcanic land. By 2019, he'd tested bits of it, but he flagged some wild guesses about hydrothermal vents too. Could vent minerals spark reactions, juggle pH levels, or trap ingredients? Maybe lipid films sealed it all in, powering early energy with pyrophosphate bonds. It's a cool idea, but untested. Did these hot springs really cradle life, or is it still a long shot? Picture volcanic islands dotting a young, restless ocean, lightning slashing the sky during ash-spewing eruptions. We're suggesting these fiery outbursts coughed up the raw stuff, reduced gases and all, for amino acids and other life starters. The fallout rained into warm little pools or lakes hugging the volcano's sides, brewing the next steps. But here's the twist, could these shaky, violent spots really hold steady long enough to birth life, or would they shred those delicate molecules before anything began? Here's where it gets dicey. Volcanic islands sound thrilling, but their chaos might be their downfall. Blazing heat, acidic fumes, and constant churning would tear apart complex organics faster than you can blink. Toss in seawater, and it's a hydrolytic wrecking ball, smashing prebiotic bits to pieces. Stable? Hardly. With materials cycling through volcanic mayhem, how could chemistry hang on long enough to evolve into something alive? It's a real head-scratcher. But what if life didn't start here at all? Zoom out, way out, to the cosmos. The panspermia hypothesis says life, or its seeds, hitched a ride to Earth on meteorites, comets, or stardust. Imagine space rocks dropping amino acids and nucleotides like cosmic care packages. Scientists have toyed with this since the 1800s, wondering if tough little extremophiles or organics could survive the interstellar road trip. It's a jaw-dropping thought, life as an alien import. Hold up, though, space isn't exactly a cozy nursery. Picture this, lethal radiation, bone-chilling cold, and cosmic chaos battering those travelers. Could life, or even its building blocks, make it through intact? And if they landed, Earth's oxygen, UV rays, and water would chew them up fast. Plus, there's no clear way to get the perfect molecular handedness life needs. Panspermia's a wild ride, but the odds? They're stacked against it. Now, let's tweak the lens back to Earth's air. Was it thick with reactive gases, neutral, or harsh and oxidizing? No matter the flavor, every early atmosphere idea struggles to explain how life's pieces formed and stuck around. It's like trying to build a sandcastle in a storm, nothing holds. How did those first fragile molecules dodge destruction long enough to team up? The air itself might have been their biggest enemy. Zoom in closer, life's built on 4 rock stars: carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. These are the bricks and mortar of every cell, the crew that keeps life ticking. But here's the kicker, each needs its own special conditions to form. All popping up together, in one spot, at the same time. That's a cosmic lottery win. How could this gang assemble on a rowdy young Earth to kickstart the first cells? After the 1950s, scientists widened the hunt beyond amino acids. Nucleotides, RNA and DNA's building blocks, store info, while membranes shield early cells like tiny fortresses. But all three, amino acids, nucleotides, membranes, showing up at once? That's a stretch that boggles the mind. How did these complex players sync up in a world of chemical chaos to lay life's foundation? Leslie Orgel, a brilliant chemist, put it starkly in 1994, proteins and nucleic acids, both crazy complex, popping up together, spontaneously, in the same place. Nearly impossible. In his Scientific American piece, he wrestled with this puzzle. How could these two titans of life team up on a wild early Earth? It's a question that keeps us up at night, staring at the ceiling. Orgel didn't stop there. He said proteins and nucleic acids are like a cosmic chicken and egg riddle, you can't have one without the other. They're locked in a dance so tight, it's hard to imagine life starting purely by chance. At first glance, you might think chemistry alone couldn't pull this off. Orgel's words hit hard, is life's origin a miracle we'll never unravel? Making life's bits, like proteins or RNA, is tough. Sticking them into a cell? Way harder. Getting them to self-replicate? That's the ultimate brain twister. Even if all the parts magically appeared, wiring them into a system that copies itself feels like defying gravity. How did this trio of challenges, creation, assembly, coordination, happen naturally, against insane odds? Jack Shostak once mused about this mess, countless questions piling up, stumping even the sharpest minds. He pointed out how modern cells, with DNA archiving info, RNA playing middleman, and proteins running the show, all lean on each other. You need the whole squad to make it work, but how did that squad form from scratch? For decades, wild theories flew, everything emerging at once, but it's a stretch too far.
But, there's an enormous number of questions that arise if you try to think about how something like this could have emerged from the chemistry of the early Earth. And then, even if you get to this stage, then what, right? How did it lead subsequently to the evolution of more and more complex forms of life? Right? And so, if you look at a modern cell, it's very hard to think about how that could ever arise, right? Because we have DNA storing information in an archival form, RNA as an intermediate, generating proteins that do all the functions in the cell. And the problem is that all of these things depend on each other, right? So you need RNA and proteins and metabolites to replicate DNA. You need DNA to encode the RNA. You can't make proteins without the RNA and the code and the archival information and the metabolites. So, trying to think in a rational way about how a system like this could have emerged, I think, held back progress in understanding the origin of life for decades, right? Because people were generating all kinds of crazy theories about how everything could just emerge at once, which is basically not possible. And there's a clue in the structure of this diagram that maybe RNA, this molecule in the middle, is the answer to that sort of paradox.
The deeper we dig, the trickier it gets. Shostak's take cuts deep. He highlights the slog of untangling life's start, the skepticism from pros, and the leap to complex life that still feels like sci-fi. Every step forward leaves us with more hows than whys. It's a puzzle where each piece reveals a bigger, wilder picture, one we're nowhere near solving. Take the famous Miller-Urey experiment, a spark in a flask, cooking up amino acids. A breakthrough, sure, but it's just raw materials, not life. The real hurdle, turning those bits into something alive, stays untouched. Lynn Margulis nailed it, going from amino acids to a bacterium is a bigger jump than bacterium to human. That gap? It's a chasm we're still peering across. Life's more than a chemical grab bag. Cells are buzzing mini-cities, humming with thousands of reactions in sync. Think of stentor, a single-celled wonder glowing under a microscope, simple, yet dazzlingly complex. How did that leap from loose molecules to coordinated chaos happen? It's like nature pulled off a heist we can't reverse engineer. Michael Denton put it bluntly, the simplest cell's complexity is so wild, it's hard to swallow it just happened by some fluke. Every discovery, every peek at life's gears, makes that first spark seem more improbable. The deeper we look, the more it feels like chasing a ghost. Are we missing something huge? But here's the catch, the more we uncover, the murkier it gets. Tools like microscopes and DNA sequencers show us RNA polymerase racing along DNA, 40 to 80 nucleotides a second in eukaryotes, up to 100 in bacteria. That's lightning-fast precision. Yet, each find piles on complexity, making life's origin a puzzle that grows as we solve it. Albert Einstein once said, "The more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know." That hits home here. As life's insane intricacy unfolds, what if some pieces of this story can't be explained by blind nature alone? It's a haunting thought, could there be a limit to what science can crack? Life's debut isn't just about chemicals, it's a symphony. Information, energy, protection, all clicking like clockwork. That harmony's the real stunner. Explaining how it fell into place is a beast of a challenge. How did dead molecules morph into biology's building blocks? That's prebiotic chemistry's quest, tracking how lifeless bits like water and carbon dioxide turned into life's organic stars, no enzymes or cells required. It's nature's opening act, driven by raw forces, heat, lightning, UV rays. The stakes. Without these carbon-rich players, life's show never begins. How did simple stuff transform into the goods life needs? Rewind to the 1800s, folks thought living things had a special, vital force, in their molecules, a mystical edge over lifeless rocks. Then, in 1828, Friedrich Wöhler flipped the script, cooking up urea from inorganic stuff. Boom, vitalism crumbled. Organic now meant carbon-based, not alive. From formaldehyde to methane, these carbon champs, alongside inorganics like ammonia and water, set the stage for life's chemical dawn. Those little molecules, formaldehyde, hydrogen cyanide, methane, they're the Lego bricks for amino acids and sugars. Add in ammonia for nitrogen, carbon dioxide for carbon, and water as the mixing bowl, and you've got the recipe. These basics aren't just prebiotic relics, they're still life's backbone today. But how did they kickstart the big show? Life's not just molecules, it's a team effort. Simple inorganics had to evolve into complex organics because biology craves carbon's versatility, stuff that can self-organize and carry info. Inorganic loners like water can't cut it alone. So, what flipped the switch, turning basic bits into systems that hum with purpose? Earth had organic starters, methane, formaldehyde, hydrogen cyanide, but they were rough drafts, nowhere near the polymers life demands, like proteins or DNA. Turning those into the big leagues meant massive upgrades. Scientists still struggle to mimic this in labs. Picture the Miller-Urey setup, sparks zapping a brew of methane, ammonia, water, mimicking Earth's wild youth. It's a glimpse, but the full story? Elusive. Making molecules is one thing, organizing them into life is a whole other beast. Even with the right pieces, chaos ruled early Earth. How did these bits beat instability, dilution, and a planet gone haywire to become systems that work? It's like assembling a jet mid-flight, daunting doesn't cover it. That jump to complexity faced a gauntlet. Hydrogen cyanide, a key player, could fry under UV or wild heat swings. Dilution scattered molecules thin, side reactions muddied the pot, and Earth's madness didn't help. Could blind nature really pull this off, weaving a self-copying system from the mess? Take formaldehyde, a tiny molecule with a big job. It's the seed for sugars, which build RNA and DNA, life's info keepers. The Formose reaction turns formaldehyde into sugars, a prebiotic possibility. Simple, right? Not so fast. It's a messy process, and early Earth wasn't exactly a lab. Could it really deliver? Sugars are life's fuel, but cooking them up naturally? Tricky as heck. The Formose reaction might work, but it spits out a sugar soup, nothing specific, like ribose for RNA. And it needs stable spots to concentrate. On a chaotic Earth, that's a tall order. Did nature find a way, or are we missing a piece? Now, hydrogen cyanide, HCN for short, is a double-edged sword. It's a must for amino acids and DNA bases, but it's toxic and twitchy, ready to turn into useless tar. In an ocean, it might have been too diluted to shine. Could this wild card stay tame enough to spark life, or was it too hot to handle? HCN and formaldehyde are MVPs for sugars and amino acids, but they're divas, finicky and fragile. HCN's especially prone to breaking bad under Earth's harsh vibe. How did it hang on long enough to matter? These simple organics faced a gauntlet: instability, scarcity, energy walls, all in a world with no rulebook. A 2015 study by Patel and crew showed HCN's potential. With UV light and hydrogen sulfide, it can whip up nucleobases, amino acids, even lipid bits. But it's a tightrope. HCN can still go rogue, gunking up into junk. It's a tantalizing clue, proving HCN's power, yet spotlighting how picky its stage needs to be. For HCN to star, Earth had to set the scene: moderate temps, UV shields, a cozy pH, a reducing air. Tough gig on a planet of raging volcanoes and brutal rays. Could little pockets pull it off, or did HCN's instability tank its shot? The conditions scream maybe, but it's a shaky maybe. Ammonia's another linchpin, life's nitrogen lifeline for amino acids and DNA. No ammonia, no biomolecules, no you or me. But was it plentiful back then? On a young Earth, battered and raw, how did this shy gas form and stick around long enough to fuel the party? Making ammonia naturally? Good luck. Earth's nitrogen sat locked in tough N2 bonds, breaking them takes serious juice or enzymes, which didn't exist yet. Lightning or vent minerals might have chipped in, but the yield's puny, and lightning's output needs extra steps. Could nature cook up enough to matter? Maybe minerals like iron disulfide stepped up, turning nitrate into ammonia on their surfaces. It starts at flaws in the crystal, where magic happens, slowly. The bottleneck's reducing nitric oxide, needing a jolt to hit hydroxylamine, then ammonia. Cool trick, but was it a game changer? Mineral surfaces sound promising, but they're fussy. Not every rock works, and some need crazy heat or pressure, rare on early Earth. Even when ammonia trickles out, it's a whisper, not a flood. Enough to kickstart life's chemistry across a planet? That's a stretch we can't quite buy yet. Iron-sulfur chemistry might have helped, but it's no hero. Low output, high hurdles, and a world that didn't play nice, all cap its mojo. Even if it worked somewhere, scaling up to feed life's dawn feels like wishful thinking. Nitrogen's origin is still a giant, huh? Methane could have been the carbon king, juiced by UV or lightning to birth organics. But was it thick in the air? If Earth's vibe was neutral or oxidizing, methane might have been a bit player. It's sleepy too, needs a big push to wake up. Was it the star, or just a cameo? Carbon's life's backbone, but turning CO2 into biomolecules. Brutal. CO2's stubborn, needing energy and catalysts to budge. Vents might have helped, but oceans diluted the goods, and spotty conditions didn't promise much. How did Earth pull off this carbon alchemy? Sugars like glucose are metabolic gold, early life's energy candy. But where'd they come from? Without a sugar source, the first critters would have starved. Glucose's origin is a gaping hole. Did Earth whip it up, or are we still clueless? Water's a paradox, life's buddy and its foe. It's the perfect stage for reactions, but it loves breaking bonds, not building them. Proteins and DNA need dehydration, not hydrolysis. Tidal pools or mineral traps might have dodged this, but on a soggy earth, how'd life's bits beat the wet wrecker? From sky sparks to vent brews, every spot for life's start has flaws. Atmosphere, oceans, rocks, all tease us with maybes, but none seal the deal. How did these messy stages birth order from chaos? That's the million-dollar question we're still chasing. And there you have it, a whirlwind tour through the chaotic kitchens where life might have cooked up its first recipe. From lightning-laced skies to simmering vents and rocky hideouts, every setting we've explored offers a tantalizing, what if, yet each stumbles over its own messy flaws. The atmosphere churns with promise but delivers instability. Hydrothermal vents bubble with energy, only to drown in dilution. Surface rocks hint at order, then crumble under Earth's wild tantrums. It's like nature threw a party with all the ingredients, formaldehyde, HCN, methane, ammonia, but forgot the instructions. How did these raw bits dodge destruction, team up, and ignite the spark of life? That's the cliffhanger we're left with. Every clue we chase pulls us deeper into the mystery, leaving us awestruck at the sheer improbability of it all. What do you think? Did life pull off the ultimate heist, or are we still missing the master key? Stick around, this story's far from over. Hey, thanks for sticking with us through this wild ride into life's origins. If you enjoyed the journey, give that like button a tap, it really helps us out. And if you're as hooked as we are on unraveling these cosmic mysteries, hit subscribe for more mind-bending adventures. Catch you in the next one, bye for now.
They say some sludge threw a party one morn, splashed in a spark and bam, life was born. No pain or no plan, just a sloppy wet fling. Atheist clap, that's our everything. Nucleotide stumble, tripped in the brew, whipped up a heartbeat, yeah, whoop-de-doo. But hold up, that's a machine, not a goof. Somebody wired this whole darn proof. Sludge ain't smart, what a yarn to spin. No wits, no will, just a puddle's grin. From mush to magic, wheel so slick, I'd stake my boots on a maker's trick. A smirk to the stars, a cheer to the chief. Life's no slip up, he's the thief. They crank a jolt in a beaker with glee. Look, it's alive, not sludge debris. Enzymes humming, too clever to fake. Blind mess can't bake that perfect cake. More time, they holler with a hopeful stare. Eons roll by, still nothing there. A cell's a fortress, not a sloppy drip. Who's the genius steering this ship? Sludge ain't smart, what a yarn to spin. No wits, no will, just a puddle's grin. From mush to magic, wheel so slick, I'd stake my boots on a maker's trick. A smirk to the stars, a cheer to the chief. Life's no slip up, he's the thief. Spin that motor, whirring like a dream. Dumb dirt did that, pull the other supreme. Codes flowing fast like a poet's rhyme. No thunderclap writes a tale this prime. No boss, they yell with a skeptic's pout. But that's like a car from a scrap hip shout. I'm snickering loud, it's a right to see. Design blaring bold, oh can't you agree? Ain't smart, what a yarn to spin. No wits, no will, just a puddle's grin. From mush to magic, wheel so slick, I'd stake my boots on a maker's trick. A smirk to the stars, a cheer to the chief. Life's no slip up, he's the thief. So tip your cap to the doubter so shrill. Life from zilch, that's a knee slapper still. I'll toast the one who sparked this spree. A cheeky gotcha from me to thee. Yeah! So tip your cap to the doubter so shrill. Life from zilch, that's a knee slapper still. I'll toast the one who sparked this spree. A cheeky gotcha from me to thee.